Problems with proof of funds are one of the most common reasons to deny your visa application. So let me tell you how to avoid some of the most common mistakes so your visa application doesn't get denied. One important thing to know is that Czech Republic generally is not giving visas easily. It's definitely not one of the easiest countries to get visa for, so it's best not to give them any more reasons to deny your application. And the easiest reason to deny your application based on the proof of funds is if you don't have enough money in your bank account. This might be a bit tricky because you can see, okay, this amount is the requirement, I have more, so I'm good. But for example, in 2022, the required minimum was increased twice, and that was actually within 3 months. So if you had enough money like 1 month ago, you got your bank statement translated, but your visa appointment was like 1 month later or 2 months later, you might have easily end up having not enough money because meanwhile the minimum requirement increased. Maybe one advice here or two advice here would be get the proof of funds right before your appointment. So don't get it like 2 months in advance or 3 months in advance. Just wait till the very last moment and get it right before you go to the embassy. Of course, you need to keep in mind the translation process and everything, but as close to your appointment date as possible is definitely preferable. And second, have way more than required. So if the requirement now is, let's say, 111,000 crowns, don't have 111, have maybe 150 if it's possible, because this way you can avoid any potential problems. Second easiest way to deny your application, or second easiest reason to deny your application for the MOI, is if you use the money. Or I mean, not the fact that you're using the money, but if you're using the money and because of that you drop below the required minimum. Because what can happen during the approval process is that the ministry will request a fresher proof of funds, especially if you didn't get the original one right before submitting your application, but it was already 1 or 2 months old when you were submitting the application. Then it's more likely that the ministry will request something fresher from you. And maybe even like a full bank statement showing all your transactions, not just the balance, but showing all your transactions. And if they see that you basically most of the time didn't have the money in your account and then you just deposited them before they requested the documents or after actually they requested the documents from you, that can be also a reason to deny your application, saying that you just deposited the money there for the visa process, but you actually don't have the money, that you just borrowed it or something. So if you can keep the required minimum at your bank account during the whole approval time. Third most common problem with the proof of funds is that you're using someone else's bank account. That itself is not a problem, because if you're moving here as a student, you might be using a bank account of your parents. That's fine, that happens and it's okay. But you don't only have to have enough money in your bank account, but you also must be able to prove that you can use the money in the Czech Republic, which means that you should have a bank card, a debit card linked to that account. So if you're using your parents' account, that's fine, but you need to prove that you will be able to use the money in the Czech Republic. So you should have a debit card linked to that account, and then everything is fine. Also, your parents should write some statements that you will be able to use the money in case, but having a debit card linked directly to the bank account is the best and easiest way to avoid any problems. Of course, there are more potential problems, but these three are the most important ones. If you want to know more, or if you have any questions regarding your own bank statement or proof of funds, get in touch. I'll be happy to help.